Hi, my name is Larkin Adams, and today I will be interviewing my mother, Beth Bryant, over the subject of Roe versus Wade. So I'm going to read you some background information, just so you know what's going on. So in the early 1970s, Jane Roe, a single and pregnant woman, challenged a Texas law that forbade all abortion in all cases but one, in which having an abortion would save the mother's life. Of course, controversy spread and split the country almost in half, people feeling strongly for both sides. Around this time, there were many other states that had the same restrictions, but some were considering reform. In 1970, two graduates of the University of Texas Law School, Linda Coffey and Sarah Weddington, filed a lawsuit on behalf of Jane Roe. They claimed that the Texas law, criminalizing 99% of abortions, violated her constitutional rights. The Texas law banned all abortions except those necessary to save the life of the mother, and Roe retaliated with that while her life was not endangered with this pregnancy, she couldn't afford to travel out of state to have an abortion, but she had a right to terminate her pregnancy in a safe medical environment. The lawsuit was filed against Dallas County District Attorney Henry Wade in a Texas federal court. And in 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court, in a 7-2 decision, affirmed the legality of a woman's right to have an abortion under the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. So, what is your opinion on the subject of abortion?
Well, my opinion is not black and white. My opinion is circumstantial. And I feel that in certain circumstances, abortion may be warranted. However, I don't feel that abortion should be used as a means of birth control. There are things that can happen to a woman that may not be uh, fixed or be reparable in the action of an abortion. I also agree with the limitation on how old or how far along in the term the mother can be in order to have an abortion. Um,
So, with that being said, in your opinion, when does a life actually start?
Everything is alive. All cells are alive. You know me. I'm a scientist. And everything is alive. Now, there's a fine line, I think, between when a mass of cells is considered a human life form as opposed to just a mass of cells. When the um, embryo starts to take shape, then I would consider that, and it has a heartbeat and begins having, features of a child, then I would consider that to be a fetus. However, when you just have a mass of exponentially rapid growing cells, I don't consider that to necessarily be a fetus, because you could argue the same point about a tumor.
Good point. Good point. So, in that case, when should abortion be acceptable?
Abortion, if abortion, this is just my opinion. Nobody asked me.
I asked you.
Oh, I know, but nobody in the government asked me. Abortion, if it happens out of incest or rape, again, if the mother's life is in danger, if the child's life or future is in danger, then I certainly think it's advisable. I don't think um, we should force a child to be born who's going to require life support for the entirety of their existence. Nor should I think that we should force a mother to struggle with that every day, or father. Um, the financial investment of children is substantial alone when you have a healthy child. When you have one that's going to be unhealthy, then I think it should be up to the parents to determine whether or not they can afford that, and whether or not they are ready to take on that challenge.
Would you rather live in a country that protects the lives of all humans, or in a country that thinks some are better off dead?
I think, for humanity's sake, it would be in the best interest for the government to want to protect those humans that are born. When inside the mother, the embryo and fetus are still a part of the mother. So I think it would be in the government's best interest to protect the rights of the mother. However, until that child is born, it is still a part of the mother's anatomy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Does it bother you that over 90% of abortions are performed on healthy mothers with healthy babies who have chosen to engage in sexual intercourse?
No, because I don't know what their story is. How can I judge them?
Well, I don't know. Does the Constitution embrace a woman's right to terminate her pregnancy by abortion? You think?
Do I think it embraces? Say that one more time.
Does the Constitution embrace a woman's right to terminate her pregnancy by abortion?
I would say probably not. I would say that the Constitution was written in a time when abortion was not really even considered.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think the Constitution was specifically referring to abortion in the 14th Amendment.
Agreed. According to a source, the court that held the word person according to a source, the court held that the word person in the Constitution had never been interpreted to include the unborn, nor had state laws ever recognized the unborn as people. This would suggest that the fetus was not entitled to any legal standing or protection. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
I just said it a minute ago that, while the fetus is still inside the mother, it is still part of the mother's anatomy. It is not an individual. It is connected to its mother.
Okay.
Is that sufficient?
Yes.
Do we need to expound anymore?
You never know. There might be more questions on that later. The court ruled that during the first 3 months, a woman could obtain an abortion without any government interference. During the second 3 months, as the risks posed by an abortion to the mother increased, governments could intervene in order to protect the mother's health. And during the last 3 months, as the fetus reached viability, governments could regulate and even prohibit abortions. Do you think the government should be able to prevent women from having abortions?
I don't. In my opinion, I don't think government should be able to rule on anything that a woman chooses to do with her body. That being said, I do think, as I stated earlier, that there comes a time during a pregnancy when the fetus should not be aborted. The fetus, as you said, it's viable. There are alternative means if you don't wish to have the baby. After a certain amount of time, the 3 months that is legal, after that amount of time, you should know whether or not you are going to have this child. And there are alternative methods of getting rid of the child once the child has been born. You don't even have to have contact with it once it exits your body. But to just abort it when it is healthy and viable, when there are many who cannot have children, many who are happy to adopt, I think is wrong. That's my opinion. What the government says isn't based on my opinion. And if it were legal to abort in second and third trimester, and women did it just as a means of birth control, that would disgust me. Because at that point, it's a much more in-depth process as opposed to how they can suction out the embryo prior to those trimesters.
The court ruled that women do not need permission from their husbands before they have an abortion. Do you think that they should have permission before they get an abortion?
No, what if they're not married?
Touché. In that case, how about if a woman is a minor, should she have to get permission from her parents?
Yes.
Why?
Well, if something were to happen that would endanger the life of the child, of the adolescent, then it would serve to protect the medical facility that is performing the abortion. Because if something were to happen, the mother's parent or the parents don't know about it, that sets them up for liability. And an adolescent is not equipped really to make life decisions. So it's unfortunate that that's even a question, and unfortunately more adolescents are engaging in activities that they should not be. So I can understand why that's a real question, but it's unfortunate.
I agree. It is unfortunate. So, referring more back to the court case now, do you believe that, women justices with children would be kind of biased about the Roe versus Wade court case?
No.
No? Not even a little bit?
No, because now you can, until you are in the situation, you can have a specific viewpoint on something, and you can be very black and white. This is wrong. I refuse to allow this, yada yada. But if you're ever put in that situation and have to consider the